Was GTA 6 worth the hype? Yes, 100%. It's been a long time coming, and it's so nice to finally see a trailer. So that's pretty much it. That's the end of this video. Except I do want to talk a bit more in depth about all of this, because it has been one hell of a journey. And to be honest, this is also just the start. Leaks for GTA 6 started to spread during 2014 and even 2015. This is supposedly in the background where Rockstar were going through a number of different locations where potentially they could base a future GTA game. They started to look at places like London, but another big one was also Tokyo. These leaks started to surface at the exact same time in which we started to see leaks surfacing for Red Dead Redemption 2 being in development. Of course, because Red Dead Redemption 2 was much closer to its release, things started to pick up a bit more for that title, but leaks for GTA 6 were still going off in the background. In fact, just before Red Dead Redemption 2 did release, we started to hear confirmation that yes, GTA 6 is within the works, and yes, they did start looking at a number of different locations, one of which was Tokyo. Rockstar even went out there to map the city, but ultimately decided that no, it was not right. GTA is America, and that's where that saying really started to spread around. And it's also what led to the codename of GTA 6 whilst it was in development, Project America. With the codename being Project America, many people believed that Rockstar were gonna go big. They were going to include every single location that we've seen within previous GTAs and bring it into this massive world. That's when the very first map started to leak for GTA. And yeah, they were huge. And there was parts of this which were somewhat true. People also talked heavily about Vice City, mainly because Rockstar have revisited previous locations before, but Vice City is the one which they haven't, leaving it being the only one left. But still, people were making a connection that yes, they're going to revisit Vice City, but Vice City is also going to be included within this massive world. That didn't really change until after the release of Red Dead Redemption 2, and even started to build up to 2020. That's when, in 2020, an article was released by Jason Schreier over on Kotaku, which was titled 18 months later. This was 18 months after Red Dead Redemption 2's release. That's because Red Dead Redemption 2's release wasn't that great. It was great from a gameplay point of view, unless you're talking about online, but it was bad in terms of the toxic environment that employees had to go through up until the release. And the reason that we're mentioning this article that's based on Red Dead Redemption 2 within this video for GTA 6 is because there was an employee who did talk about GTA 6 being the next title and is going to be released at a smaller scale compared to what they've done before, but they'll continuously update it, both being story and online. This is also expand with the map itself. This went alongside with the Cayo Perico heist, which Rockstar released as part of GTA 5, where Cayo Perico was this brand new area, not part of the original GTA 5 map, but something that you could then travel to in order for you to get new content. But of course, the biggest moment was in September of 2022 when we had the massive leak. We really shouldn't have this information, but it changes everything considering what we're going to be talking about for the rest of this video. We was able to go and see characters in action, first seeing Lucia, Jason for the very first time, but also many activities, how certain gameplay mechanics are going to be improved from GTA 5 or Red Dead Redemption 2 into GTA 6. Also seeing completely new gameplay mechanics that's never been seen before, which really showed the scope of this game already, even though it was not announced at that point and certainly had no official information. And those leaks continue to circulate throughout the GTA community, which brings us to this point. GTA 6 finally has its very first trailer. In fact, you don't really need me to tell you that. It ended up being the most viewed video ever on YouTube, which is not a music video, within the very first 24 hours. Getting around 90 million views within a 24-hour period, that is ridiculous. But it's even more ridiculous considering that this is a game trailer which was also shared and re-uploaded by many other gaming organizations and companies. Look at GameSpot and IGN, who also, just between those two, managed to go and get 20 million views within the first 24 hours. So the amount of people that ended watching that trailer over there instead of over on Rockstar Games' channel is it is a lot, easily breaking over 100 million views on YouTube within that 24-hour period, even though it doesn't actually count that for the record. And this is still a game that was leaked. Many people already knew what to somewhat expect, with it being leaked within September of 2022, but also Rockstar needing to bring that trailer release forward because of trailer leaks. People already saw it and still came round to go and watch it again on Rockstar's channel. That's how insane this is. So with all of that, with all the leaks that we've had since 2014, building all the way to September last year, when we do know way more than what we're supposed to, and still have the trailer leaked before its intended release, is insane. One of the next big questions that people are talking about is, when is the game finally going to release? And of course, Rockstar gave us a year, being 2025, but this is where we start to try to draw some connections. Rockstar have stated that GTA 6 will release within 2025, but just a few months ago, when Take-Two went through their quarterly earnings report, they stated that they're going to have a very good fiscal year 2025, which isn't exactly the same. Fiscal year 2025 goes from September 2024 all the way up to September 2025, so we know it's going to release within that 9-month period. We also know that Rockstar really loves spring. They initially intended GTA 5 to release within spring until it was delayed, and also intended for Red Dead Redemption 2 to release in spring until it was delayed. Now, there's no guarantees that that's going to happen this time around, but it's one of those. You don't really want to start putting release dates for a game that's going to release towards the end of that window, because game companies, they go through iteration cycles. That's how game development works. So with this, there's still no guarantee that that's going to be the intended release for GTA 6, but it's a good window, because if they are intending it to be spring and they do need to delay it, they can still fulfill that promise of it being within 2025 and also being part of the fiscal 2025 window, just because there is some more space between the moment that they do intend to release all the way to the end of that timeline, which of course is what they did with both Red Dead Redemption 2 and GTA 5. Another comment that I've seen quite a bit is that because we did get those leaks last year in September of 2022, people are already saying that the trailer is just there for hype. It's just to go and get sales, because what we've already seen does not look like the final product. And yes, it doesn't. It really does not look the same, except the leaks that we saw years ago were in development. We knew that they were in development, and people took it on the face that things are supposed to go and look at the best possible quality from the moment in which they start development, but no. And game companies even supported this at the time, such as Naughty Dog, Ubisoft, and many others during those leaks, who shared early gameplay footage of some of their biggest and best titles. One of my favorite ended up coming from Naughty Dog for Uncharted, where they are driving through the streets and they only had a vehicle and no other assets. That's what happens. And then as time goes on through that iteration cycle, they start to build it up, improve upon it. And then the final bit of polish is that final 10 to 20% of that game. And yes, even though the trailer will look much better than gameplay, we would have loved to see gameplay, but of course that's just not how things are done, especially with the first trailer. And yes, Rockstar are trying to get as many sales as possible. They're trying to add to the hype that's already there. But based on Rockstar's previous record, the trailers that they end up releasing to then be followed by the full game release, there's not much of a difference. There's certainly worse companies to be in control of something like this. If it was Ubisoft, yeah, we have problems. It's not going to look anything like what they're advertising. Just look at the initial trailers for Skull and Bones and look what it is now. It does not look anything compared to what was originally advertised. Admittedly, there's some development problems, but with all of Ubisoft games, you have a trailer all the way up here, and then a game which is, yeah, you know where it is. It's not great. From my point of view, it adds more credibility based on what we've already seen, because what we have already seen within the leaks to now go and see the trailer, we already know the depth that they're going to. Vehicles, characters, locations, certain activities, even the finer details with those leaks that we saw in September last year. Characters would get dirtier as time goes on, hair will grow, either from their head, their facial hair. Clothes will start to deteriorate, which are similar mechanics to what we did see within Red Dead Redemption 2, but they already took it up to a new level with those leaks. And even though we don't get to see that in action with the trailer, we already know that those mechanics are already there. So in some of those scenes within the trailer, you can see Jason driving a car and there's just a little bit of dirt across his face there. It's a small detail like that that we already know is part of the game and not just there to be added as part of the trailer itself. We also know when showing various vehicles, interiors are looking great, that Rockstar have already put in a lot of effort to include interiors and put as many details as possible within these, because yet again, we started to see this within those initial leaks. And even though those leaks were released last year, there still hasn't been an exact date, or at least not from what I've seen, of when those clips were recorded. I've seen speculation that it was sometime within 2019, 2020, 2021, but to be honest, I really don't know. What we do know is that those mechanics were already there whenever it was recorded, and we're starting to see Rockstar subtly mention them within the trailer itself. But with all of that said, there's still going to be some changes. What we see today still does not 100% represent what is going to be the final product. It will probably be around 80-90%. Reason for that is because of that iteration loop that I mentioned earlier. They're still going through this. There's still changes that will be made. And we've seen this from Rockstar before in the past. Linking back to Red Dead Redemption 2, you may notice that if you watch the very first trailer that was released and then go on to play Red Dead Redemption 2, that there's a few slight differences with Arthur based on his appearance. You may also notice that there are clips and cinematics as part of that trailer which does show Arthur within New Austin, which also doesn't happen within the Red Dead Redemption 2 story. Because now that Rockstar have released a trailer for GTA 6, they likely know where they're gonna go in terms of the mechanics and the experience that they're trying to provide. It's unlikely for them to add any new major gameplay mechanics, but they may take some away to try and get that experience across in a much better way. Maybe some things are just dragging out longer experiences than what it really needs to. They could just get straight to the point and include that as part of gameplay, which will then provide to you on the release. Hence why it's been heavily speculated. In fact, it's heavily backed at this point that any type of storyline that was included for Arthur to go through New Austin was completely stripped. It wasn't needed. It did not add anything to the experience of the game. So they removed it and still delivered a great game. And expect that to happen from now all the way to release, except it's not going to be heavily documented. It's not saying that Rockstar are saying, they're just doing it, and then maybe we'll be able to put together the pieces after the release to be like, wait a minute, that's slightly different, and then start to rework of what could have potentially happened. Very similar to what was happening and did happen with Red Dead Redemption 2. But if you couldn't tell, I'm very excited for this. It's very exciting to be following these leaks for such a long time. I'm someone who's skeptical of any type of news for any type of game, and it was no different for GTA 6 for the many years in which we've been getting leaks. It's not until something does get released officially by Rockstar or is confirmed. So it's nice to finally have a trailer, to finally have a release window, and, well, be excited for the next year and a half. Of course, this is a big moment within gaming, so let me know all your thoughts in the comment section down below. Anyway, thanks for watching.